Hey everyone, happy Friday. Nice. Hope you all are going to enjoy a nice 3-day weekend, just like me. Looking forward to it. It's been an interesting week, and I'm so glad that it is finally Friday. Yay, woohoo. So, I hope you all have been. Sounds like a lot of people have been, except for me. I'm way behind on this Texas shooting thing here. So I want to thank Jamie and Catherine and Sophia and everyone else who has been covering this, trying to stay on top of this, or at least looking into it. It's an interesting case, to say the very least here. And then I didn't know it until today that President Trump is going to be speaking at the NRA convention in Houston, Texas. So I found that pretty interesting. Coincidental, right? It's all coincidence, all coincidental. But I found that pretty interesting, and I was watching Right Side Broadcasting News, and they're outside live outside of it with the protesters and everything, and I can only take so much of watching the people who are protesting guns and things like that, and they think guns are the problem when I think guns are the answer. So I don't know what your guys' view is on that, but the host made a good point. He's like, I don't know how they think disarming people is going to stop these shootings. It's really not, especially in this case when there's so much like you probably all know, so many different questions about what is going on here, what happened, why the delayed response. I watched the press conference today, the police press conference. I didn't see all of it, but from what I watched, it doesn't sound like they have too many answers or they know what's going on. They were basically saying that the reason why they didn't storm in there and go in there was because at that point the active shooter had already locked himself. He was confined. He was in a confined space. So what they're saying is that the shooting had pretty much stopped at that point. I don't know. I don't know if it's true or if it's not. That's what the press conference was saying. You could tell people were pretty angry, and rightfully so. And I just hope that people understand that, the response to this, like, if these are staged things, if these are false flags, whatever you want to call them, things to take away our guns, like, that's not what you want. You don't want the response to be, well, we got to take away the guns, right? Why isn't the response that we need to arm more people, we need to arm staff, we need to arm teachers? And thank God that there are schools out there that do that. And you can almost guarantee that those things like that are not going to happen, definitely, and never going to happen at that level. But even the police officer, and I forget his name, whoever he was, kind of quirky guy, like more of a city police guy in this small town. But he was even saying, in a situation like that, what they are supposed to do is, if there's children involved, if there's shooting involved, they're supposed to storm in there and go and kill this person. And that is not what happened. So they do have a lot to answer for. The feds are definitely involved in it now too. They're looking into it, right? Or looking into it. So I don't know. I'm not jumping the gun on any of this stuff to say what it is, what it wasn't, but it's definitely some strange things, some strange goings-ons here. So I'll be curious to see how this all plays out. But it was pretty interesting to me that how it all just kind of times. The timing is always strange. And now Trump's speaking. He'll be speaking later today. I'm sure it'll be blocked on Facebook, on YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. You'll find it on Rumble. I'm sure you'll see it there. So check out Right Side Broadcasting News on Rumble if you don't find it on YouTube. I'm going to record it offline, so that way I have it, and then probably upload it onto my Rumble channel. Upload the audio onto my podcast, because I know it's going to be a fiery speech. I'm hearing that the NRA convention that's happening in Texas, some people have actually backed out. They are not. Some speakers have backed out, and they didn't say who those speakers were, but I found that pretty interesting too. I'd like to know who those speakers were that backed out, probably for political reasons and everything. But You can't give in to these tyrants, to these terrorists. I mean, that is what they want. They treat Trump like a tyrant, like a terrorist, when that's who they really are. Everything that they've been doing against Trump is just all of the same thing that they claimed that he was doing. A great book that I just started, the audiobook. See if I can remember the name of it. Forever Coop or something like, man, I wish I could remember the name. I'll have to pull it up later on. I'll try to add it into the comments when I post this. This is not live, then I'm just recording this while I can. But I want to say Forever Coop, but that's not Forever Coup, but that's not the correct title. It's a great book. This person, the author, breaks this down. Pretty much gives a really good timeline. The first chapter is awesome. He gives a really good timeline of everything that was happening from 2013 with Joe Biden, with the Burisma thing, the Ukraine thing, how they tried, once Trump won, they tried to call him a Russian agent, the quid pro quo, which we know that Joe Biden had, and they tried to say that Trump had one of those with the Ukrainian president, all of that stuff. And it's an awesome timeline that they were just reading off, because people need to remember this stuff, because there was so much happening when Trump was our president, that it was hard to really keep up with everything in there. And it was really hard because there was just so much. They'd get one thing that would turn out to be fake, and they'd move on to this other thing. So it's like people who weren't really paying attention too much, and people who just who were looking for things against Trump, didn't really care about the facts, just wanted to know the dirt, didn't really care if the dirt was true or not. The media, the shadow government, the New World Order, the deep state, whatever you want to call them, they were just throwing things at these people so they could latch onto. And once it turned out to be fake, they didn't care. They just moved on to some other thing, and then moved on to some other thing to create this illusion that, well, all of these things can't be wrong. Well, yeah, they can be wrong, and they are wrong, and they're proven wrong. And so the common thing is not that all of these things with Trump, so Trump must have done something wrong. No, the common thing is that all of these accusations that turn out to not be true. And that shows a coordinated campaign against Donald Trump. And like the author was saying, it's not really Donald Trump. He's just the more vocal one, the more boisterous one. But it's really an attack on us, an attack on our country, on our Constitution, on our freedoms. And that's what it's always been. It's nothing new, but it's just great to kind of have this book that documents it. Man, I wish I could remember the title, and if I can't look it up, because then I think the stream will stop if I do. But it is a great book, and I will definitely make sure to put it into the description. I just started it, literally just started listening to the first two chapters, and was like, wow, yeah, this brought back all these memories of all the stuff, and how COVID was part of this too. It was all used. The economy was going great. The author said we had the greatest economy since the lowest since 1967, the lowest number of unemployment, and then COVID. So it's pretty interesting what I've read so far, but I don't know. This whole Texas shooting thing is definitely. We've seen similar things here. We've seen this same program where this is what this media, this dark state media, this really horrible media will do, and not just them, but the politicians will try to do too, where they try to say, well, enough is enough. Enough is enough. Yeah, enough is enough. Arm yourself. Arm the people. This stuff will stop happening. Less guns is not the answer. You need more guns, and you need more people to have guns. Then you have more responsible people with guns, because it becomes something normal. It's not just crazy people running around because they know nobody else has guns. That's not what you want. Why would you want that? Well, we can imagine why people would want that. And I think those are some of the things that President Trump is going to be talking about. And He's going to do the condolences to the family and all of that stuff, but he's not going to back down from, if he speaks, right? Because there's even a question, is he even going to show up? But if he speaks, he's not going to back down from saying how important the 2A is. 2A is one of the most important things. 1A and 2A, First Amendment, Second Amendment, these are the most important. Well, that's why they're first and second right there. Third and fourth too, I guess, right? But the main thing is that you cannot back down from it, and that's what they want. And people who are already anti-gun are going to use this. And yeah, people who are pro-gun, we're going to use this too. Absolutely, because the truth is on our side. Logic is on our side. Rational reasoning is on our side. It's not rational to say, well, these crazy people had guns, so we got to take the guns away from people who aren't crazy. That doesn't make any sense. No. The crazy people had guns, and the people who weren't crazy didn't. That created the situation like this, and that's why so many people got killed. And it's going to keep happening if we do not arm our citizens, if we do not arm the good people. We need that. And yes, they need proper training, and we need a lot of training. It should be taught in schools, like it used to be. People need to learn how to shoot. They need to learn how to clean their guns. They need to learn how to properly shoot, when not to shoot. They need to learn all of these things. It can't just be the cops. It can't just be our soldiers. It can't just be the bodyguards of the politicians who don't want us to have guns. It's got to be everybody. And it's our constitutional right. So that is why this is really an attack on our Constitution. 1A and 2A, definitely. No doubt. I don't have any doubt. That's what it all is. It's to get rid of the Constitution. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. This country was founded on certain rules, was founded certain principles, and if that ever changes, if those are taken away, physically removed from the Constitution, you don't have the same country. But they cannot do that. There were so many things put in place by the people who founded this country that you really cannot do it. You have to really destroy it from within, and even that's going to be really, really hard. So the people who founded this country knew exactly what they were doing. They were doing something right. They got a lot of things right, I think, when it comes to what went into the Bill of Rights, to our Constitution. They knew exactly. They were prepped for this. They were prepping for hundreds and hundreds of years in the future here. And it's always been a struggle since the country was founded, since before the country was founded. There's no reason to think it's never going to not be a struggle. Life is a struggle. And that's why I don't put my faith in anything but God, anything but Jesus Christ. I don't put any faith in it. That's how it is. That's how it needs to be. And it's going to stay like that, right? When it's your time to go, you're going to go. How do you go? How you go? That's all in God's hands. I can't control that. So, need to learn more about the shooter. Obviously, one of the things that really bothered me, again, is whenever these active shooter things happen, you have a disinformation campaign that comes out there and creates false data, puts out false photos, false people, false suspects, etc., in order to try to discredit any of the strange things that may come out that are accurate, right? They always do that too. So it's like, that's another thing that I've been focusing on too. Is like, wow, here we go once again. So much false data put out there, and they make it seem like it's just the good people that are putting false data out there. I don't think so. The good people may be repeating that in order for us to document it, to see exactly what is true and what isn't. But the good people don't put out false data. Now, I've been, in the past, years past, I have put out things that I did not verify or anything like that, but not treating it as true, treating it as questions. because the disinformation campaign, that's what they do. It's not, sometimes I can be accused, and rightfully so, of misinformation because I was misinformed about something that I thought was true. But people that are putting out disinformation purposely, you cannot catch them if you don't document the disinformation. So that's what I think a lot of people are doing, and again, it's just going to be whatever people think. Their preconceived notions are always going to affect whatever their views are. Same with me too, right? I mean, I question all of these shootings. That doesn't mean that I haven't figured out or anything, but yeah, I'm going to question it too. I'm going to look at whatever I can get my hands on. Try to share whatever I can, because it's in these early days that you get the best data. And it seems like here we go again with another case. We're not getting a lot of data. People are putting out false information about who the suspect is, et cetera, so that later on they can use that to try to discredit people when real data comes out, when hard evidence comes out about what really happened here. They're going to say, well, you can't trust that person because they put out all of this false data, so they must have got this wrong too, right? So, but the truth is the truth is the truth, and the truth does not change. So whatever did happen, it is going to come out. We will be able to figure it out. Again, it's just there's some very simple things that need to be answered about this shooter. We're not getting answers. The families aren't getting answers either. So it's not like they're holding it from us or anything. So we're going to see what happens, and then compare it to other strange cases, to real shootings, to real mass shootings, and to fake mass shootings. And I think the only other thing that I would want to talk about are drills. A lot of people do drills. There's been many drills done in San Francisco that do not turn into active shooters or active shootings. Drills can turn into something active, but it's not always the case. So, I mean, people need to understand that just because we mention a drill that goes live, it does not mean every drill. We're not saying every drill goes live, but drills do go live. That does happen. And it also is true that drills do not go live at some times. That happens too. I think more than not, there are drills that do not go live. That's my view on it. Based on some people that I've talked to who have been a part of these drills and a part of these crisis actor scenarios where they run drills for this stuff to see, to test it. You have to. You can't just not run drills. You have to do that in order to prep for these real live cases. And so it's a fine line when we get to talking about drills going live, because I would not support the idea that every drill goes live. Sometimes they're meant to go live. Sometimes they're not. I think we've seen that. Even with 911, there were many people who thought this was a drill, when there were planes missing and things like that, because they run those drills a lot. People are running active drills in shopping markets, shopping places. I know in San Francisco, there's a lot of drills that they've done in Los Angeles that we probably won't hear about because they're drills. We shouldn't hear about them. So I don't want it to be like, well, if there's a drill, then it's gonna go live. No, but I'm also not gonna say that no drill goes live, right? I don't know. Anyways, that's a whole nother. That was the only thing I wanted to mention about drills there, because they do training. They have to do training for these things, and they have to try to be as accurate as possible. So I don't believe that just because there is a drill, and then there was something that happened live, they may not be tied. They may not be, but it will be easy to kind of figure that out, I think. And everyone can make their own choice, right? So we don't need the fact checkers to, people to tell us, well, you're totally wrong on that. Well, believe whatever you want. I don't care what you believe. I'm gonna look for the truth. I'm gonna trust in God that He's gonna show it to me, and that's it. I'm gonna get things wrong. That's fine. I have no idea. I have no problem with getting things wrong. I should get things wrong, right? Everyone gets things wrong. It's about what do you do with that then, you know? And that's why I try not to jump to conclusions until I feel like I have a strong view on it. And even then, I could still be wrong, you know. And even then, I'll still be able to admit that I'm wrong if I find that evidence that shows that I'm wrong. People know about the cases that I cover. They know about my views on certain things. Kyle Rittenhouse, 911, JFK, David Crowley. You know, I have no problem on being wrong with any of that. Those are 4 cases that I have very strong views on, but that doesn't mean that I'm bought in. Doesn't mean that I'm invested in it. These are temporary things. It's not going to get me into heaven. It's not going to, you know, it's not going to get me into heaven. It's not about my salvation, which is where I need to be focused. And a humble person needs to do that. I love to joke around. I love to talk. I love to share my views, and I think people do too. And I hope people just are not like holding back on their own views because, you know, they don't want to be proven wrong later on, or they don't want to be attacked, or they don't want to, you know, have people twist their words or whatever. Who cares? God knows what's in your heart. God knows how you really feel. God knows everything, and that's all that really matters. And people don't. People are always going to make up things. They're always going to create problems, create friction and stuff like that. So you can't control that. You can't control what anybody else does. You can only control what you do. So looking into these cases, if you're going to research this stuff, if you're going to spread things, just be responsible about it, you know. And for me, it doesn't matter if you get things wrong. We all do that. We all do that. And the problem is there are people out there who purposely are trying to put out disinformation so that we get things wrong, to try to discredit us, as if that somehow is going to prove that what we're saying is not true, right? So something about the active shooter, let's say if I were to share something about this shooter that turned out to not be true, that doesn't prove that this guy wasn't crazy. That doesn't prove that they should take away our guns or anything like that, right? It just proves that I got something wrong. Like I said, that can happen. That's okay, and you have to be open to that. So, because again, God knows what's in your heart. People don't. It's just the way it is. And I guess that's about it. I guess my rant is pretty much over here, but hope you all have a blessed weekend, and don't forget about Monday. Woohoo! It's not just a holiday, folks, but it's nice to have that off, and hopefully, you know, we can. I want to get back into more positive things too, and I definitely make time for those. And this case, like I said, I have not really focused too much on. Today was really, and last night, I think, because Jamie covered it, they were talking, was it last night they were talking about it? The night before? I don't know, it was all a blur. But, so, Southern Truth, they did a whole panel show on it, which was great. I didn't catch the whole thing, but what I caught was really good, and I look forward to catching up on that. As long as it doesn't get taken down, I will try to finish that as well. Watch that whole thing, because I'm sure they brought up a lot of things that people just don't want to bring up because they don't want to be wrong, or they don't, you know, it's not 100% verified, this and that. Well, nothing is 100% verified. In these early days, you got to bring up everything. You want to talk about everything, right? You want to try to document everything as much as possible. So then that way we can go and we can see what is true, what is fake, and try to even find some of the sources of, okay, where did this fake photo come from? Where did this fake stuff come from? Did it really come from just honest people, good people who just got it wrong? Or were there people out there who were purposely putting this out there to try to get us to take that bait, and then they could try to discredit us, right? And that really is a big problem, because that will distract from the facts, from real researching, and maybe that's what their goal is. And so those people always get found out. Like I said, sometimes you can get things wrong. It doesn't mean that you are the source of it. If you are the source of it and you get things wrong and you're a good person, it's okay to admit that you got it wrong, that you messed up, and just try to do better next time. So God bless you all. Hope you all have a great weekend, 3-day weekend, and who knows? We may be back, we may not. You may see me here, you may see me there, you may see me everywhere. God bless you all. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.